So we've got a little bit of a bonus video for everyone today. I wasn't expecting to make this because I didn't know that LEGO was going to announce the third quarter ideas results. And I gotta be honest with you, it's really, really interesting, especially in light of some of the recent videos we've made, like 2027 Castle being a potential strong point. Then you had the Midnight Valley sub-theme from Icons that has this Mayor Manor. And if you look at the Monster Fighters from back in the 15 years ago, they had a castle there, so maybe there's a castle in our future through that line. But then they dropped the third quarter announcement and we get a castle, which is really interesting, and I'm excited for the possibilities. So we're going to talk about that in this video, so maybe some of the changes I expect LEGO to make to that set, what it potential is going to hold for it, how big it might be, how expensive it might be, and what it means for ideas and castle fans in 2027 and beyond. So the set that LEGO announced is going to be produced as an idea set is the Universal Monsters set. It is a castle designed submitted on ideas, and it is actually fairly sizable in terms of the parts count. It's 2,250 pieces, which puts it in line with a lot of the typical Bricklink Designer Program sets. If you think about the Alchemist shop that we just reviewed, that one is around the same size as this one in terms of the parts count. Taking a look at the set, it's predominantly dark blay, it's got a gate, it's got some towers, and when you flip it around to the inside, there are a lot of really interesting rooms to it. You've got dungeon, you've got catacombs, you've got a room that's a music room according to the description. It's got this big organ in it. You've got some chambers in there. You've got this rooftop element where you can see Frankenstein coming to life. And there's a lot of possibility when it comes to playability and even display value. So that we're getting this castle is really exciting because even if you're not into monsters, it's going to work pretty well, or it could work really well in a castle display, or just as a nice way to get some great parts for castles, or something that's going to mix in well with other castle sets that you have. But I do expect there to be some significant changes made to this particular set. And I think the biggest one is, well, I think there are two big ones. The first one is they're not going to leave it the same as you see with the official submission because it's very, very dark. There's so much dark blay in there. There aren't a lot of other colors or other accents. Why this matters is because LEGO doesn't love a ton of dark castles. It can work. I think the Adventures in Transylvania with dark red and black definitely popped. It was the most popular in-demand Bricklink Designer Program set of all time. But if you think back to 2021 and the Creator 3-in-1 Castle, it was predominantly dark blay, but it had a lot of accents, some yellow accents. It had the corners made of light blay to give it just a little bit of lightness to it. And I think LEGO's going to do something similar with this. It may not be the exact same way that they brightened up that Creator 3-in-1 Castle, but I think it's going to be something that's going to allow it to pop out from the typical black box background that we see. So I anticipate that they're going to change some things to it. They might add some foliage, even if it's kind of a darker type, getting some greens, dark greens in there is going to help with the overall presentation of the set. The second big change that we're going to see, it has to be done, is they're going to redesign a lot of the set to fit it into the expectations of a $200+ set. It's 2,250 pieces as submitted. And the building techniques and the modern, it doesn't scream modern LEGO set. And LEGO will redesign idea sets to make them what LEGO wants them to be to a certain extent. And I think they're going to do that with this one. I think they're going to add some snot techniques, some advanced building techniques, nice parts usage, and they're going to add some angles to it. They may be subtly done. They may not completely reconfigure the whole layout of the set, but when you look at the design, it's primarily bricks stacked on top of one another, very flat facade on the front. And so I think LEGO's going to try to break that up in some way, shape, or form to make it more interesting to build, to make it a little bit more appealing for people who have high expectations for sets that you're going to spend a couple $100s on. Now, that's not a knock on the design. I've never submitted an ideas project, and Lord knows I'm not going to get anywhere close to 10,000 people supporting it, even if I did. But getting it to the ideas stage, getting it to the review, and then getting it selected is a huge, huge step in the right direction. But now the refinement is going to have to take place. I think LEGO's going to try to make this look better because they want it to appeal not just to the fans of Halloween and spookiness and monsters, but also the castle fans and the fans that are casually interested in well-designed sets. So they're going to make some significant changes to that. I think the playability options are very much there already with what was in the submission. So I anticipate the interior may be undergoing less conceptual changes than what we see on the exterior. But that set, I anticipate coming out toward the end of 2027. Looking at the timeline of when idea sets are accepted and when they come out, about a year or so lag, year to 15-month lag is pretty common. So expect that to come out in 2027. In terms of price and potential minifigs and things like that, I think there's some very intriguing components to this. If LEGO increases the price or increases the piece count, can't speak, we might see that price tick up to $250 to $300 US. At the same time, if they maybe just improve the design a little bit, but cut out maybe some of the tiling we see on the interior, maybe it's going to be around that $225 to $250 price point, and it's also going to depend on the minifigs. There are a list of suggested minifigs over on the Ideas submission page, like Frankenstein and others. LEGO has, I think, some options for that, given the Haunted Mansion that came out last year, as well as the Mayor Manor that is coming out this year in September. So they have some minifig options where they might be able to borrow a couple of them from other sets, so not every single minifig is unique. That might reduce the cost of the set based on the number of minifigs that we get. But I'm expecting this one to be probably $240 to $250 when all is said and done, provided they don't significantly increase the parts count for this set. So that's another surprise. I wasn't expecting to see a castle accepted for the Ideas program. And it's the second one that we've seen in the last couple of years. The other one being the Downton Abbey set, which is supposed to come out either later this year or very early, like January of 2027. Now, what does this mean for Ideas? Because that we're getting two licensed castle sets is really intriguing, because we haven't seen some Ideas castle sets in a long time. But now, between the Bricklink Designer program, you've got Harry Potter castles, you've got the Ideas castles that are coming into play, collectible minifigs that might be an option for 2027, especially I'm hearing the January wave. There are some interesting options for 2027 and beyond with Castle. I still want LEGO to do a Castle theme or a sub-theme in icons. I still want at least an icon set in 2027. I'm hoping that we're going to get that. But even if we don't, there are definitely a lot of options for those of us who are into Castle. So it's exciting to see this. I don't know if I'm going to get this particular set just because I haven't seen the final image, and I'm not particularly fond of the way it's designed at this point in time. Plus, space is becoming a real issue. Yeah, hit that like button if you know what I'm talking about. But we'll see what it looks like, because we are a sucker for a good castle. So let me know in the comments below if this is something that excites you, what changes you are expecting to see in this by the time it gets to be an official LEGO set. Thank you for watching, and always remember to keep building together.